So what is a shake and bake operation?
Shake and bake operation is what my son started. Is what they would get reported coordinates for where insurgents were. And one point, his lieutenant had told him that there was 2,000 insurgents rushing their base outside of Fallujah. And they would be given the coordinates. He'd punch in the coordinates. They'd begin the shelling with artillery shells using depleted uranium. And then they would then follow it up with white phosphorus and burn anything else that may be left alive there. And part of artillery is then you go in and you check what it is that your kill is and secure any weapons. And there was one time with the 2,000 insurgents when he got there.
To Fallujah.
In Fallujah, outside of Fallujah, was that it was basically women and children. His found burnt body parts of little kids, old women. There was some flyers still left unburned that showed said in Arabic asking them to leave this city because it was going to be bombed in the morning. And so a lot of these groups would gather together to leave the city, and they would perform the shake and bake missions to basically.
What was your son's role in the operation?
Well, he was on the #1 gun. He was also, like, on the initial invasion. He received a presidential unit citation for the work that they did going into Fallujah or going into Iraq with the #1 gun.
So your son not only saw with his own eyes but participated in this operation where he was ordered to use chemical weapons against civilians. Is that accurate characterization?
It is. It is. He, when he got to the spot where he saw what had happened and that it was civilians and not insurgents, they found AK-47 in this group of 2,000 women and children. And so his commanding officer told him, well, justified kill. They're all listed as insurgents. And that's pretty much how it's operated. I know my son told me the closest he ever thought of fragging an officer was at that moment because he couldn't believe it. That was, I think, the moment that my son was completely destroyed, and why when he got back he had tried to commit suicide so many times. And, he's had guns in his mouth. He had a shotgun in his mouth where I stopped him from pulling it. We've had a large struggle with this. And it's just, he can't seem to live with himself. And I've convinced him that by fighting to end the war and really speaking out against the war, that can help regain his humanity. And it has, because he's speaking out strongly and he's trying to save lives. That's why when the Marines threatened him with his free speech or disloyal statements and filed a suit against him, it was just so crushing to him, because it's really the only thing that's kept him alive is speaking out against the war.
As this story in Fallujah and this what your son witnessed in Fallujah, has the government covered it up or tried to cover it up in any way?
I don't know. I know that they've denied that it happened. I know that an attorney from a human rights center had interviewed my son. They were trying to bring a lawsuit against the government for the people of Fallujah, but that's gotten buried. And so I don't know whatever came of that. He's trying to get the story out. He wants what happened there for people to know how horrible it is. And he's hoping that if enough people get outraged, if enough people realize what the horrors of war are, that it will compel them to act as he has and as I have and demand that the war ends.
How's your son doing now?
This week he's doing good. He's got went up to Chicago for the IVAW, Operation First Casualty. He's participating in that up in Chicago, and he's around a lot of vets right now. And that's also a huge part of his healing, is being around other Iraq vets.